Guys, probably many people wonder how Ice Strike Monk will feel now, since the patch notes basically killed the bell. However, there was a hotfix yesterday from the recording, and in that hotfix, the bell got a little bit buffed. So now instead of having to have 10 combo, you can have 4 and then already use the bell again. However, I thought I'd do this video real quick to show you guys how it currently looks like, because I'm playing with it. I'm gonna swap to crossbows, but it is basically still playable. I want to show you guys one rusted girdle here real quick. And the tech tools still have clear, like there are two problems, right? The single target and the herald chain is both gone. But you see this right now? The clear is still basically achievable. And I think right now, one level below zone level. I have a pretty good weapon, to be fair. But it's worse, but it's still achievable. And there is one way, and I'm going to explain that. So what we are doing is Shattering Palming. Shattering Palm is an ability where you unarmed dash to an enemy, and then you have a shockwave around that enemy. You just saw that before. And these guys all basically explode. And what we are doing is we use Herald of Ice, Shattering Palm, and Shattering Palm is a level 41 gem. So before that, you clear is kind of ass, but I mean, with Herald of Ice, it's like, okay, you know. Anyways, the way I did this, or the way this build works, and I don't know if it's like good for maps, is you use Ice Strike, Shattering Palm, Tempest Bell as your three main abilities. I want to explain Shattering Palm real quick because it's important. You dash to an enemy and you mark it. Think of it like that. You mark the enemy. And the interesting thing about ailments in PoE 2 is you build them up, right? You know, stun build up, ailment build up, blah. And the initializer of the build up is the important part, and that's why Shattering Palm is kind of insane. What you can do is you can put Deep Freeze on Shattering Palm. If you dash to any boss with it, which you should always do because it saves time, it's still a movement ability after all, you mark it, you attack it the first time with cold damage. Deep Freeze, for example, works on the bosses then. It nearly doubles, 50%, sorry, it increases the freeze duration by 50%, yeah? So 150% instead of 100 like before. You can also put Ice Bite into there, which is also an ability that depends on freezing, right? So if you dash to an enemy and then freeze it, you get a global Ice Bite buff with 35% of damage as extra cold damage. So what you want to do, I have a falling right now and I'm lazy and I'm going to swap off a build soon, is Ice Bite with Shattering Palm and Deep Freeze. And basically with that, you like dash around and then with Ice Strike, you clear the packs and the build is going to still work. However, I think the build went from being basically OP, let's be real, to like barely playable. You are still melee, you are still very vulnerable. It is still a heavy nerf that it got, but I want to go through very quickly the bell as well. Like, I would say barely playable. The bell. So now we still have 4 combo. What you're gonna do is you want to use the upside we have now. Before, or I'm just not talking about before, I'm just talking what we're doing now. We get the 4 combo, and on bosses you can now always use Rage and Overabundance. This is both tier 1 support gems, and these both on your Tempest Bell make a lot of sense. Because basically on boss fights you have Perma Bell up now, but you only have this one. Instead of 4, you only have 1, but that one is permanently up because of Overabundance. And Rage generation is pretty good as well, because that means like after a few seconds on the boss, you actually have 30 rage, which is 30% more attack damage, right? Basically, the playstyle is now Ice Strike the boss until you have a Tempest Spell, put down the Tempest Spell, keep on Ice Striking, put down the next Tempest Spell, and so on. And with that, it's like, okay, overall, the clear is kind of the same in campaign, because we didn't do double Herald stuff in campaign early on usually, right? The clear, however, has been bad before, basically, right? Without double Herald, this ability didn't have like insane clear. The bossing is basically nerfed by 70%. You have around 70% less damage. It is really bad. It is, however, still playable, but now you have to do boss mechanics, basically. You cannot kill bosses in one freeze. Oh, and by the way, even though the shatter of like Shattering Palm, like the additional clear, does not exist on the other palm abilities, it's probably still always worth to go with Ice Bite and Deep Freeze if you have any kind of flat cold damage anywhere to start the freeze build up. So use any other palm before as well, palm ability. Okay, so the playstyle I already explained, and for maps it's probably falling off hard because in maps monsters are scarier in general. They are more tanky and so on. It is still no double herald chaining. I personally won't really play it anymore, but also everything is worse, so maybe I'm overreacting a little bit. I think it's definitely nerfed. Maybe someone finds a way. Another comment, Polcirkeln, the unique Sapphire ring does not work because of how they changed heralds, right? So a lot of people are saying, oh, why not Polcirkeln? No, it doesn't work because the heralds have to chain off each other even with Polcirkeln. The thing Polcirkeln does now is basically remove corpses of every chilled enemy you kill. Still a pretty okay upside, but it's like way worse because the chaining off itself does not work anymore. So what options do you have in maps? Try it out. I won't probably, but probably Herald of Ice AoE scaling is good. The Shattering Palm is definitely good and works. And the way you build it in the endgame is basically still, in my opinion, take the build guide I did on my YouTube channel and swap out Herald of Thunder and Grimfeast, because Grimfeast doesn't exist anymore anyways, and find a cool companion. So there is this Tame Beast new gem that has been added, right? And with that, you can probably get some extra ES or haste aura or whatsoever, and probably that's what you want to fill in for your auras. Beside of that, it is, like, as I said, I would call it barely playable. It's not that, though. Lastly, how do you level this? Because Ice Strike is still a level 14 ability. For that, please refer to, and I will link that in the description, the video that I have online on my YouTube of the second race, where I am using ED, like here, Glacial Cascade. I have everything in there. I think the POB as well. You use Glacial Cascade basically to kill the early bosses. You use ED Contagion to clear before in the zones. So Essence Drain Contagion, obviously is lagging right now. Unlucky. Why would it be smooth when I'm recording a video? Yeah, why would it be smooth when I'm recording? So ED Contagion to clear. Yeah, as visible here. And maybe sometimes Glacial Cascading backwards to help it out a little bit with a clear. And I actually need to get a better internet connection to upload in full HD. I'm sorry. And then after that, for bosses, you can still use one bell and auto attack. Maybe I can show the kick in the mist real quick. So the damage is technically not nerfed, like of auto attack and all these things. So instead of having multiple bells, you have 1v1. It is a huge nerf, no question. But you should still be kind of fine. And the boss fights still are kind of the same. So the moment you have bells and you are like in the second part of Act 1, you probably just do one bell instead. Still overabundance, rage, like here, just with one bell. Auto attack, auto attack, auto attack, auto attack. And with that, you will definitely get to level 14. I think this is the way to level Monk in general right now, until level 14. I tried Stormcaller Arrow because that was the best on the last patch, I think. Like even in the second race, I think this was an inferior tactic. On 0.1, Stormcaller Arrow was even better. But now Stormcaller is dead. Holy, I leveled with it on the first character that I did. Oh my, it's bad. Guys, you don't want to use Stormcaller. So this is it for this video. Still kind of playable, but barely. Okay, if you want to log in, you can. I'm linking the videos in the description that I talked about in this video. And yeah, enjoy.